Becoming a leader is about
basically it's becoming hardwired, and what we're seeing is
everybody has to go through it if you want to become a leader.
Too many kids.
As an aside, I will say, leadership is like
relationships.
parenting in the sense
Their
that
words, not mine.
everybody has the
They will admit
capacity
that many
to
of their
be a
friendships
parent.
are superficial.
That doesn't mean
They will
everybody
admit
wants to be a
that
parent.
their friends,
and that doesn't
that
mean
they
everybody
don't
should be a
count on their
parent.
friends. They don't rely on
Leadership
their
is the
friends. They have
same.
fun with
Everyone
their
has the
friends.
capacity to
But
be a
they
leader.
also know that their friends
doesn't
will
mean
cancel
everybody
on them if
wants to
something
be a
better
leader,
comes
and it doesn't
along.
mean everybody
Deep,
should be a
meaningful
leader.
relationships are not there
And the reason
because
is
they
it comes
never
with
practice the skill
massive,
set,
massive
and worse,
responsibility.
They don't have the
Sometimes
coping mechanisms to deal with
people
stress.
just don't want it. It's
So
a lifestyle
when
they
significant
choose not to
stress
have, and
starts
that's
to show up in
fine.
their lives,
That's absolutely
they're
fine.
not turning to a
But
person.
if someone
They're
chooses
turning to a device.
that is
turning to
a
social
lifestyle they
media.
would like to have, they
They're
would
turning
like
to
to
these
become a
things which
leader,
offer temporary relief.
then
We
they have to
know, the
acknowledge
science is
that
clear.
they
We
will
know
or need
that
to
people
go
who
through a
spend more
transition.
time on Facebook suffer higher
When we're
rates of
very, very
depression than people who
junior,
spend less
the
time
only
on
thing we
Facebook.
have to do is be good at our jobs.
These things
That's it,
balanced.
right?
Alcohol
Some
is not
people go
bad.
get
Too much
advanced
alcohol is
degrees
bad. Gambling
in
is
how to do
fun.
their
Too
jobs,
much gambling is
engineers or
dangerous.
accountants.
Right?
And if
There's
you're
nothing
good at
wrong
your
with
job,
social media
they'll
and cell
promote
phones.
you.
It's the imbalance.
And eventually you'll get
Right?
promoted.
If you're
to a
sitting at
position
dinner with
where
your
you're now
friends
responsible for the people who
and
do
you're
the job
texting somebody who's not
you used
there,
to do, but nobody teaches us how to do that.
that's a problem. That's an
We just
addiction.
expect them to be
if
good
you're
at
sitting in a
leadership,
meeting
right?
with people
It's as
you're
if we
supposed
put
to be
somebody
listening
in
to
front
and
of a
speaking,
machine
and you
and
put your
demanded
phone
results, but
on
never
the
showed them
table,
how to use the machine.
face up or face
so
down.
the
I
reason
don't
we get
care.
nobody showed them how
That's
to do
what
the job
happens.
of leadership.
And the
for
fact
one.
that you cannot
And
put
two,
it away is because
they
you
can't
are
help
addicted.
themselves. Of course, they're going
Right?
to
If
tell
you
you
wake
to do
up
it
and
their
you
way
check your
because they
phone
actually
before
do
you
know
say
how to
good
do it
morning to
better
your
than you because that's what got them
girlfriend,
to the promotion
you
in the
have an
first place.
addiction.
And the
like all
transition we have
addiction,
to
in
make
time, it'll destroy
is that we are no
relationships,
longer
it'll
responsible
cost time,
for the job.
it'll cost money, and
As I said before, we now become responsible for the
Right?
people who are responsible.
So you
for the
have
job.
a generation
Right?
growing up
There's
with lower
not
self-esteem
a
that doesn't have the
manager
coping mechanisms to
around
deal
who's
with
responsible for the
stress.
results. We're responsible
Right?
for the people
Now you
who are
add in the
responsible
sense
for
of
the results.
impatience.
I love
Right?
talking
They've
to
grown up in a
CEOs,
world
and
of
I'm like,
instant gratification.
what's your priority?
You want to buy
They say,
something?
my
You go on
priority is my
Amazon, it
customer.
arrives
I'm
the
like,
next
you haven't talked to a customer
You
in
want to
10
watch a
years.
movie? Log on and watch a
You know,
movie. don't
you have
check
no
emails.
impact
You want to watch a TV show?
on a customer
Reasons
who will
so they
then
can
impact your
binge at the
customer.
end of the season.
Or
Right?
support someone who will then impact your customer.
Instant gratification. You want to go on a date?
Leaders are
You don't even
responsible
have
for
to
the people
learn how
who
to
are
be like,
responsible for the people who are responsible for the people who are responsible for the customer. Get that chain
You don't
right.
even have to
That
learn
is
and practice
the chain
that
of
skill.
command.
You
Get
don't have
that
to be
chain
the
right.
uncomfortable one who says yes when you mean
And
no
everything
and says
goes
no
just
when you mean
fine.
no
Get
and
that
yes
chain
when you
wrong.
You don't have to swipe right.
And then the
Bang,
people
I'm
who
a
are
stud.
touching the customer, inventing the product, selling the product.
You don't have to learn.
Figuring out ways how to build the company,
social
manage the
coping
numbers,
mechanisms,
manage the
right?
processes, manage the
Everything
operations. In
you
other words,
want, you can
all
have
the heavy lifting.
instantaneously. Everything
Get that
you want.
chain wrong.
Instant gratification.
And those people will spend
Except
more time protecting
job
themselves from
satisfaction
you than doing their
strength of
job.
relationships. There ain't no
Right?
app for that.
Any company, for
They are
example,
slow,
where it is standard
meandering,
practice in that
uncomfortable,
company for
messy
employees
processes.
to feel the need
And so I
to send a
keep meeting these
CYA
wonderful,
email after every
fantastic,
decision they make
idealistic, hardworking,
is a
smart
sign that they're
kids who
taking
just
time and
graduated
energy out of
school.
their job,
They're in their entry-level
away
job. I
from
sit down with them
advancing
and
the
I go,
company's
"How's it
mission
going?" And they go,
in
"I think
order
we're gonna
to
quit."
protect themselves
I'm like,
from their own
"Why?"
company.
They're like,
That's what that is.
I'm not making an impact.
Any company where it is
You've been here
standard
8
practice
months.
for people to feel that
called
they're taking
impact that
time
they
and
wanna have
energy
in the
out of their
world.
day away from
Which
doing
is
their
something.
job
What
in
they don't
order
see
to
is the
protect
mountain.
themselves from their own leaders. That's
I
what
don't
that
care
is.
if you go up the mountain quickly
Those
and
are
slowly, but
signs
there's still a
of
mountain.
bad leadership.
Politics.
And so what
This
gossip,
young generation needs to
all of
learn
these
is
things are people
patience.
acting out of self-interest.
That
That's what
some
politics
things
and
that
gossip
really,
is.
really matter,
Right? In
like
well-led
love,
organizations, you tend to find
or
working together
a
to
skill
compete
set, any of these
at
things.
a much
all
higher
of
level.
these things take time.
I'll tell you one quick story. It's a true
Sometimes
story
you can
that
expedite
captures
pieces
just
of it. But
so
the
perfectly.
overall journey
I was staying
is
at the
arduous and long,
Four Seasons in Las
and
Vegas,
difficult. And
which
if you
is a
don't ask
wonderful
for
hotel.
help and learn that skill set,
And the service
you
there
will fall
is
off the
really
mountain,
great.
or you will.
The reason it's such a
worst
great
case
hotel
scenario,
is because
the
of the
worst
people who
case
work
scenario,
there.
and we're already
And I
seeing
had an experience
The worst case
with
scenario is
a
we're
young
seeing an
man by
increase
the
in
name of
suicide
Noah.
rates.
And Noah's a
We're seeing an
barista
increase in this
in
generation.
the
We're seeing an increase
coffee
in
shop that
accidental
they have
deaths
just
due to
there
drug
in the lobby.
overdoses. We're
And I was buying
seeing
a cup
more
of
and more
coffee,
kids
and
drop out of
Noah
school.
was-
Worst
Boy,
case scenario.
and I asked
is
him,
you'll have an
"Do
entire
you like your
population
job?"
growing
He said
up
to
and
me,
going
"I
through life
love
and
my
just
job
never
without
really
skipping a beat."
finding joy.
And I asked,
They'll never
what is
really
it that
find
the
deep,
Four Seasons is doing
deep fulfillment
that you love
in
your
work
job
or in
so
life.
much? They'll just, he says,
How's waft
again,
through
without
life
skipping a
and
beat,
it'll be just
he says, throughout
fine.
the day,
How's your job?
managers will walk
It's fine.
past
It's
and
the same as
ask
yesterday.
how I'm doing and if there's
How's your
anything that I
relationship?
need.
It's fine.
He said, not just my manager.
Like that's the
any
best
manager.
case scenario.
He says, I feel
Which leads me to
supported here.
the
He
fourth
says,
point, which is
quote,
environment.
I can
Built a bad habit.
And then he says,
no
to
fault
me,
of their own.
I also
And we
work
put them in corporate
at Caesar's
environments
Palace.
that care more
And
about
there,
the numbers
the managers
than they
go
do about
around
the kids.
to make sure that we're doing
They care
everything
more
right
about the short-term
and catch us if we
gains
do
than
something
the
wrong.
long-term
He says,
life
when I
of
go to
this
work at Caesar's Palace,
young
I keep
human
my head
being.
just under
We
the
care
radar
more
because I
about
don't want to
the
get
year
in trouble.
than the
He says, I just want to get
lifetime.
through the day and make a
Right?
paycheck.
And so we are putting
Right?
them in corporate
Same
environments that aren't
person,
helping them
right?
build
The
their
experience that I have at the
that
Four
aren't helping
Seasons
them
will
learn
be
the skills of
diametrically
cooperation,
opposite
that
to
aren't
the
helping
experience
them
that I have
overcome
at
the
Caesar's
challenges of the
Palace,
digital
not
world and
because of
finding
Noah,
more
but because
balance.
of Noah's leadership.
That isn't
And the
helping
joke
them
is, if I were to go talk to the managers
overcome
over
the
at
need
Caesar's
to have
Palace and
instant
say,
gratification
you know
and
it's you,
teach
they'll say,
them
but you
the
don't
joy
understand.
cannot be
So
done
we either have to replace
in a
them or
month
push
or
them
even
harder.
in a year.
No. We respond
And so
to the
we're thrusting
environments
into
we're
them-
in. Get
them
the
in corporate
environment
environments,
right.
and the
you
worst
get the
part
right
about it is
behavior,
they
get
think
the
it's them.
environment wrong.
They
you
blame
get the wrong
themselves.
behavior.
They
If
can-
that
they
is
think
what
it's
is
them who
happening,
can't deal.
It
And
is
so it makes
because
it
of
all
leadership,
worse.
not
It's
because of
not.
the
I'm here to extra
but
hard.
what leadership is.
To find
You know,
ways
we
to
all
teach
kind of
them
say
social,
the same thing from a
the
different
social
angle.
skills
So you
that they're
can pick
missing
your
out on.
flavor, whichever
There
message
should be
resonates
no
most with
cell
you.
phones in conference
And yet
rooms.
people don't do it.
None. Zero.
What's the
And I
hang
don't
up?
mean the kind of like sitting
And
outside
so I
waiting
get this
to text.
question a
I mean,
lot,
like
which
when
is,
you're sitting and
well,
waiting for a
what are the
meeting to start,
most
nobody
important
goes. This is what we all do. We all sit here and wait for the meeting to start.
Vision, charisma.
Meeting
you
starting?
know?
Okay. And we start the meeting. No, that's not how relationships are
I
formed.
know
Remember we talked
some
about it for little
spectacular
things?
leaders who don't have
Relationships
big
are formed
Steve
this way.
Jobs-y
We're waiting for a meeting to
visions.
start and we
They're
go, visionary.
You know?
How's your dad?
And I
How's
know
your
some
hospital?
spectacular leaders
really good.
who
Thanks
really
for
don't
asking.
have around, and you're like,
I know,
that's
it was really
the guy.
good.
That's the guy,
how you
right?
form relationships.
And they're
Hey,
spectacular.
did you ever
and
get
people
that
will
report
give
done? Oh
blood,
my
sweat,
God,
and tears
no,
for
I
these
didn't.
people.
I'll help you out. I
The
totally,
one
can I help you out with
thing
that?
I am
Really?
comfortable saying
That's
that
how trust
all
forms.
effective leaders
Trust
must
doesn't
have
form at an event in a
courage.
day. Even
Because it is
bad
hard.
times don't form
It
trust
is
immediately.
hard to
It's the
stand up
slow,
against
steady, consistency.
pressure.
And we
It
have
is
to create
hard to stand
mechanisms
up
where we
to
allow
an external
for those
constituency
little
who's
innocuous
pushing you to
terms.
do the right thing for your people. It is hard.
Okay, have the meeting.
It is thankless.
And then my favorite
It
is like when there's a
lonely.
cell phone there and you go like this, you go,
It's sometimes you get fired.
It
Sometimes
rains
you
and
get
go.
in trouble. Sometimes you'll lose your job, and the
I'm
next
not gonna
guy will
answer
get all
that.
the credit.
it's all
Mr.
true.
Magnanimous, you know.
And the courage to do the right thing in the face of overwhelming. When you're out for dinner with your
pressure,
friends, like
only the best
I do
leaders
this with my
have
friends.
that
When we're going out for dinner and we're
Only the
leaving
best
together,
leaders. And here's the folly.
we'll leave our cell phones. at
Courage
home.
is not some deep
Who are we calling?
internal
Maybe one of us will
fortitude.
bring a phone in case we need
You don't
to
dig down deep
call
and
an
find
Uber
the courage,
or take a picture
right?
of our meal.
It just doesn't.
Courage
That's what I was saying. Come on.
Our courage comes from
the support
to an
It
ashram
actually
by
makes it a
yourself
lot
somewhere
easier.
for 4
And
weeks.
so when
coming
you
back
just
and
say,
finding
"Don't
the
check
courage.
your phone,"
people literally will
It's
go
the
like this.
relationship
And somebody
that
will go to
we
the
foster,
bathroom
the
and what's the
people
first
around
thing
us
we
who
do?
love us and care about us and believe us. When
Because
we
I wouldn't
have
want to look
those
around the restaurant for a
relationships,
minute and a half.
we
you
will
know?
find
But if you
the
don't
courage
have the
to do the right
phone,
thing.
and when you act
You
with
just
courage,
kind
that
of
in
enjoy
turn will
the
inspire
world.
those in your
And that's where
organization
ideas
to also
happen.
act with
The
courage.
constant,
in other words,
constant
it's still
engagement
an
is not
external.
where you have
That's what
innovation or
inspiration
ideas,
is.
right? I'm
Ideas
inspired
happen
to
when our
follow
minds
your
wander and we go,
example.
and you see something.
But
bet
those
you can do that.
relationships
That's called
that we
innovation.
foster
But we're taking
over
away
the
all those
course of a
little moments.
lifetime.
Right?
will
You
not
should not,
only
and none of
make
us,
us into the
should charge
leaders
our
we
phones
need
by
to
our
be in
beds.
real life.
Remove the temptation. You
They'll
wake up
save
in the
you
middle of
from
the night because you
depression,
can't
they'll
sleep.
save you from,
You won't check your phone.
Giving up,
makes it
they'll
worse.
save you.
But if it's in the
from
living room,
any matter of
it's relaxed. It's fine.
negative feelings about your own capabilities,
but it's my
your
alarm
own
clock.
future.
Buy an
When
alarm
someone just
clock.
says, "I love you."
They cost
And I will
$8.
follow you.
I'll buy you an alarm clock. Right? But the point is we now in industry, whether we like it or not, we don't get a choice.
Like just
we now have a
yesterday, I can't believe this
responsibility
is true. This
to
is
make up
actually
the
true, I'm not making
shortfall
this up.
and to help
Just
this
yesterday,
amazing,
something to you
idealistic,
guys. I looked
fantastic
Ron
generation
Pena in his eyes and
build
I said,
their
I love you.
confidence,
100%
skills,
is my business partner.
find
I
a
said
better
it
balance
100%
between life
sincerely.
and
It was just one of those
technology.
moments where
Because, quite frankly,
you wanna,
it's the right thing to do.
You want to connect and remember. But that's so weird.
My
Like
pleasure.
I don't do
My
that
pleasure.
often.
Thanks for having me.
And
Thank you for coming.
it's so interesting that it becomes
absolutely
out of
amazing.
context.
Where
Is the best way to
can
say
they
it because,
find
like, at home with my wife, it's
ironic,
so easy,
isn't
and
it?
I love to embody it. I
Well,
love
you
to
can
feel
find
it.
me in
It's
social
awesome.
media.
But then I come into the office.
When you're
and
not in a
something
meeting.
about
So
context
yeah, I'm in all the
that makes
usual
it
places.
weird.
But
Two
but I will tell you one thing.
perspectives.
So
One is
I have a
this
new
is
book
what
coming out
vulnerability is,
in
right?
September.
Being vulnerable doesn't
It's
mean
it's a thinly
hide.
veiled plug.
Being
But
vulnerable
what's
means
them
willing
very
to admit.
happy.
But what's special
you made a
about it is
mistake.
I wanted to produce
Being
something
vulnerable is the willingness
that,
to say, "I need help."
That no digital format
Being
can
vulnerable
reproduce.
is the willingness to express the feelings you
And
have
so
towards someone.
It's an illustrated
without
quote
fear
book.
of what other people may
beautifully
think
illustrated. I was very sort of
of you
pushy about this. That
by making that
I didn't
expression.
want the illustrations done on a computer.
And
They were done by
most
hand.
people,
There's a song,
especially if they
Aloe
don't have a
Black,
trusting
the
environment
singer,
or a
the
strong
Grammy-nominated
corporate
singer.
culture, most people don't
The book
wanna
is called
feel
Together is
vulnerable.
Better.
It's
And
dangerous
He
to
gave me
feel
a song
vulnerable.
that goes
If
with
you
it. and
admit you
it's-
made a
the
mistake,
music
you don't
is
know
in
what
the back
you're
of the
doing,
book,
you've been
and
promoted
it's
into a
actually
job
the
that
lyrics
you
are
have
in
no
his
clue
handwriting.
or
It's
no
actually his
business
handwriting.
being in that job.
And
here's
lying,
the best
hiding,
part.
and faking is he sent it with a custom
but for the
scent
fact that it's more stressful
made by
and
this
ultimately
amazing
the
company
results
called
will falter,
1229,
right.
and they
Right?
designed for me
It's
to send
counterintuitive.
optimism. But that's what a strong strong environment means. It means
So
I
you
can
smell the
be vulnerable. So the
pages,
fact that
and
you
they can
smell like
say that
optimism,
out loud,
right?
means that there's a love
And the
trusting
thing that I love about
culture
this
here
is
that is
I
okay
can't
with
do
you
that in any
being vulnerable.
ebook format.
Nobody's thinking, oh my God,
I wanted to create
this company's
something that you had
going
to
downhill.
physically
This guy's
engage
nuts.
with.
And it's
You know,
designed to be given as a
he's
gift.
blubbering
First
all over the
page says
place.
to.
That's not what people are thinking. I mean, some people are
Because
probably
I wanted
thinking
it to be given as a gift to someone. You know, thank you for
But
inspiring.
generally,
me,
that's not what people are
or
thinking. If
to give
anything,
to
people are
someone,
going cool, and that then
you wanted to
inspires them.
inspire.
It was designed
feel
to
that they
promote
can also express
vulnerability,
like
physical
admitted mistake.
interaction.
It's incredible,
You know,
man.
they want to offer help
Super
to someone
unique.
and not
Yeah, it's
fear
fun.
that either.
I hope it does.
So that's one perspective. The other reason why stuff that I talk about or that you're talking about now
what you shared with
is
us
so
today,
often
man,
ignored.
honestly,
Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful.
Appreciate it.
It's hard
Thank
to
you very
measure
much.
so much.
Truly, thank you for having
How do you measure?
I should have done the entire
measure,
interview at
revenues
his
and
feet,
profits
which is
and
exactly
market share.
how it
So
felt.
let's focus on those
He
things,
has
'cause I
an
can-
amazing
I can,
Twitter
like,
quote, which
pull a
I'm going
lever
to
here and see what
paraphrase,
happens over
but
there.
leaders
But in
are
terms of,
learners, and
like,
the
trust,
people who
I'll
stop
pull a lever here
pretending
and
like they
I
know
won't see
everything and
anything
really open themselves
for
to
that
much
it
shorter than
exists.
that. Since
Everybody
it's
talks about the
140
importance of
characters,
culture,
but
but nobody
that-
seems to
that's the
be
idea,
focused on
and
building it.
when
I've
I
never met a
encountered
CEO
Simon
in
for
my
the
life
first time,
who doesn't
it
think people are
was with
important,
that
and yet
enthusiasm
every
of
day they're
being
making
opened up
decisions
to
that
learning something
prioritize a
new,
number
to
over a
changing
person
everything to build
that
something
literally
that is better.
don't care about people. They make decisions that
Knowing
literally
why you're doing what you're
brush
doing
people
is so
aside.
critical, and just the human way in which he approaches
because it's hard
the
to
world
measure
and the
in an
connection,
ultra-speedy,
and hearing that today in front of this audience, and seeing
algorithmic
everybody
world that
in
we
rapt
live in.
attention and talking